everyone, and welcome to this extra lesson on how to graph lines written in slope-intercept form. This is just going to be about 15 minutes of practice on first how to graph lines from an equation and then how to generate an equation from a graph. So if you want to skip to the generating equation part, skip to about halfway or a little more than halfway through the video. We're just going to go through a bunch of these examples together. So here we are on IXL. And this is asking us to graph this equation, y equals 7x plus 1. Well, remember, we have our equation in slope-intercept form, so y equals mx plus b. We always start at the b, so we start at 1, where we place our first dot. And now we need to figure out our slope. Well, our slope is the number right before x, so that's 7. And so we need to know that that means that we're going to rise 7 and run 1. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and run 1. We'll click here. Now we have our graphed line, and let's submit it. Awesome. Okay, let's do the next one. Okay, I went ahead and changed our screen a little bit so you can see some directions over here on this screen. So this is how to graph from an equation. So we're going to first plot the y-intercept. And remember, our equation, I'll just write it on here too, is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Abbreviate that today, intercept. Okay, so let's get started. Y equals 2x plus 6. Plot the y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept here is 6, so we're going to look along the y-axis. Now we're going to put our first point on 6. And then we need to plot our slope. So we need to count the slope. So right now, our slope is being read as 2. But remember, we need a rise and a run. So this is how much we rise, and how much do we run? Well, unless the slope is written in fraction form, we can choose to write it in fraction form by saying 2 is the same as 2 over 1. So that means we're going to rise 2 and run 1. So we're going to start on 6 again, and we're going to rise 2 and run 1. We'll do that and check our work. Okay, cool. So then here's our next one, 6x plus 3. Plot the y-intercept starting on 3. And our slope is 6 or 6 over 1. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go over 1. There's our line. If we were doing this by paper and pencil, we would connect that line and add the arrows to both ends of the lines. IXL does that for us for today. If you want to practice this on your own, you can go to IXL.com and look for this skill, y.6 for 8th grade. Here's another one, 1/3 x plus 3. This is a good one. So y equals 1/3 x plus 3. Same rules. We start on our y-intercept, which here is 3. And now we have to figure out our slope. So our slope is rise over run. We know that our slope is 1/3. So rise over run. So we're going to rise 1 and we're going to run 3. So from 3, our y-intercept, we're going to rise 1 and run 3. 1, 2, 3. Push the new point here. We've got our line, and we got it correct. All right, here's one for 1/8 as our slope and 1 as our intercept. Let me scroll down a little here. Starting at 1 on the y, we're going to go up 1 and over 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Connect that line, and we've got that correct. All right, so here's one we haven't done yet. Here's a negative slope. So we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to plot the y-intercept. Y-intercept is at 4. We'll go ahead and click that. And now we have a negative 3x. So negative 3 is our slope. Negative 3, it's not written as a fraction, so we can write it as over 1. So negative 3 rise, and 1 is the run. Remember that I've told you that rise means we can go up or down, and run means we can go left or right. So in this situation, we're going to start on 4, which we did, and we're going to go down 3 because it's a negative 3. So down 1, 2, 3, and over 1. Click it and then make sure that this is a negative line because that's a negative slope. So this is a negative line, and that is correct. All right, we've got 1/8x, negative 1/8x plus 6. And you might be wondering, how do I know if the 1 is negative or the 8 is negative? It doesn't matter which one. Remember, this is rise, this is run. So in this specific graph, I think we have to do it one way, but let me show you what we can do. So we're going to start on the y-intercept, which is 6. So we technically could rise 1 and go backwards 8, but because there's not a graph here on this for us, we are going to have to fall 1 and go forward 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 here. But if you can just imagine this line flow going to the left more than it does, or if this was our first point, we could have risen 1 and went backwards 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we would have gotten our new point. So it doesn't matter if the 1 is negative or the 8 is negative, but they both can't be negative, because if they both are negative, you're going to end up with a positive slope. So start on 1, go down 1 over 8 instead of up, because it's negative. All right. Here, we're going to pause our IXL work because we only get 15 minutes free a day unless you get an account from your teacher, which you're welcome to ask them for. But I'm going to switch and go to writing an equation based off of a graph. So let me find that here. Writing equation, slope-intercept form from a graph. Okay, here we go. It's asking us to write an equation. So we need to do this by, let me minimize this again. Here we go. All right, so to write an equation, let me add, I'll just erase this. All right, so let's go ahead and write the rules for writing an equation. So first, how to write an equation from a graph. So the opposite of what we were doing earlier. So step 1 is to identify the y-intercept, and step 2 is find the slope, and step 3 is plug in the values to y equals mx plus b. So let's go ahead and do that part together, or this first one together. It looks like we have a intercept here at -4. So anytime I'm doing this, I write out my equation. Oops, that's the wrong tool. I write out y equal, oh my goodness, I don't want this one, I want the other one. Y, there we go, equals mx plus b. And I say, okay, I found b is -4, so I'm going to do y equals mx minus 4, or plus -4. And now I need to find my slope, so I'm going to count my rise. I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. Oh, here's a perfect coordinate here. So I went up 4 over 1. So up 4 over 1 is the same as just 4. So now instead of m, I'm going to do y equals 4x minus 4. And that's exactly how I do it. I think it out like that every single time, 4x minus 4. And I'll try it again. Okay, so here's my next one. So it looks like it hits down here at -10. So my intercept is going to be negative 10. Let me find a new spot to write here. Y equals mx minus 10. And now I need to find my slope. So let me look for my coordinate. I think it's going to be this one right here. So I'm going to go up 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I went up 1 over 5. So that's 1/5 instead of my m. So it's going to be y equals 1/5 x minus 10. So I'm going to do this. Y equals 1/5 x minus 10. All right, here's another one, a little bit bigger numbers, so that's okay. Let's find where it intersects. It intersects here at negative 30. And the slope is, let's find another one, looks like here. So up 1 over, or backwards 3, so it's a negative slope. So y equals negative 1/3 x. And where did it hit? It hit at negative 30. All right, I've reached my limit for practicing on here. So I'll pull up another practice sheet for us to do these last 4 minutes together. Okay, the last thing we're going to review on here is finding the slope from 2 points. Remember, that was the formula, m equals, I'll have to type this or write this one out. It was, where's my pen? It was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, so when you have 2 coordinates and no other information, no graph or anything, this is what you do. You use your 2 coordinates to solve. So I found some practice problems here, and here they are. There's these 2 sets of coordinates, and we're going to go ahead and label them. I'm going to say this is coordinate 1, this is coordinate 2. So that means this is x1 and y1 and x2 and y2. It's really important to be very careful when you're looking with these ones. These ones have negatives. So I'm going to do my y2 first. So x and y, that's y right here. I'm going to draw the line and remind myself I'm doing y2 minus y1. I'm starting with my second coordinate. So negative 4 minus 7 over, I started with the second coordinate, so I have to start with the second coordinate again. Negative 6 minus, because the formula is minus, negative 4. Okay, take a look at how I wrote this. I kept the negatives because these 2 subtraction signs need to be in there because the formula says it's the difference in y's over the difference in x's. All right, and then the negative 4 is negative because it was negative here. The negative 6 is negative because it was negative here. And this negative 4, I put in parentheses to remind myself it's not this subtraction sign. It's just this negative, is the 4 is also negative. So I have to put parentheses here. Okay, negative 4 minus 7. I'll go ahead and write this down here. Negative 4 minus 7 is negative 11. Negative 6 minus negative 4. A minus and negative is the same thing as adding, so negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. So our slope for number 3, this number 3 example, is negative 11 over negative 2, oops, which that can actually be changed to a negative over negative is a positive. So it would just be 11 over 2. Okay, then let's do this one. This one doesn't have the negative, so it'll be a little bit easier. I'm going to say this is my second set of coordinates. This is my first set of coordinates. Y2 is 16. 16 minus y1 is 8 over 9 minus 20. Notice how my 16 and my 9 are on top of each other here, and they're also a coordinate pair here. And 8 and 20 are on top of each other, and they're a coordinate pair here. You can't mix up their positions. You can't cross over the coordinates. 16 take away 8 is 8. 9 take away 20 is negative 11. So 8 over negative 11 is negative 8/11 as your slope. All right, hopefully this review was helpful for you. If you need more help on this, please feel free to search IXL or Khan Academy or reach out to your teacher for more information.